Let me just let's get right to it. There was a CCP hearing last night in Congress at 7 p.m. What went down?
So it was a subcommittee on the strategic competition between U.S. and China. So the topic is very timely. It says growing risky, basically risky business and growing peri in the Americans' money in China. So they talk a lot about investment in China, and we're talking about the investment not from just the Wall Street, but from the everyday mom and dad, the deplorables, the common rank and filers. So yesterday, if I would encourage everybody to listen, it was not overly long. It's a little bit over 2 hours, but it had so much information about what at stake. Because a lot of people really very oblivious about what's going on, because they thought, oh, they have a retirement money stashed away, they're happy, they can live, they can retire based on what they've calculated and what the pension statement are telling them. But Miles Guo, the whistleblower movement and New Federal State of China, has been actually telling people, you need to look into this, because the business, the Wall Street people or the asset managers has been doing with China is no, because China has no real information. Everything you know as of today, everything is state secret. That is why you see the anti-espionage law, rampant up and led to a number of seize and basically closure of American company, and not just American company. Basically, all the foreign company, all the many investments in China have been actually encountered the same experience as the U.S. companies. So last night, one of the key messages they have been raising repeatedly from the three witnesses is China is the CCP is not a ruled China is not a normal government. So basically, they are a totalitarian regime. They have absolutely power to determine anybody's money, anybody's business. One of the lady, I forgot her name, but her first name is Piper. She had lived in China for many years, and she had worked in this business economic development fields. She gave a personal example. Okay, so she said she came to aware of one of the 100 global Fortune company CEO was actually threatened by a Chinese mayor, like a mega city mayor, very high profile politician. Because in China, you can think about mega cities, right? We only have a handful of those cities can be referred to as mega city. So basically, the mayor threatened this CEO and demanded he hand over the latest technology that developed in the company to its China partner. Otherwise, they're going to close. They're going to say no. They're going to deny their entry of the China's market. Okay, so that blatant. And that information was actually was validated by the other three witnesses. Basically, one of the congressmen asked a question, and he said, so should Americans be worried about their money? And the answer from the witness are overwhelmingly identical, which is yes. The CCP can do anything and can do at any time. So yes, your money is at risk. So basically that was confirmed. But on the other hand, one of the witnesses, he was into those microeconomic research fields, and he basically verified. He said, in China, it's not because we don't do a good analysis, but it's sometimes very hard to separating, bifurcating those fiction and truth because we don't have reliable data. So first of all, the data, the Chinese Communist Party, whatever, the statistics bureau, they are basically a ministry of truth. They just falsify documents because everything, just as I said, is a state secret. So you don't get the real numbers to start with, but you use your very great critical minds, your analytic abilities to decipher what is true, what is not true, navigating a very difficult terrain, and then figure out some of the information that actually usable for foreign investors who are actually thinking about going to China or who already, rely on those critical data to continue their operation in China. But those are fiction because, as he said, it's difficult. The reason why it's difficult is the Chinese Communist Party has the help from Wall Street. The Wall Street's actually taken over. those non-censored official data pumped out from the propaganda outlets from China, and then poof, moved it completely, almost with no change, and then published on those so-called credible platforms of the West world, and then basically spreading those lies. That is why when Western researchers or in this field, when they look at the data it does not come from Wall Street. The data, actually, the source is coming from the Chinese Communist Party, who has every intention to hurt America and the free world using what we called unrestricted economic warfare. So that is a great information that coming out from last night. And then the third witness is actually a Hong Kong. I think now he lives in America. His name was called Damon Shen, if I said it correctly. I know his Chinese name. His Chinese name is Shen Dong, and he and his wife had made a fortune, by making a political alliance with the vice premier at that time, Wen Jiabao, premier of China at that time. So in his book, actually, I read his book. The name is called Red Roulette, and he mentioned about how he purchased the Ping An, the stock, and with the insider knowledge, and then they got really super wealthy. But one day in 2017, her wife disappeared. Boom, disappeared. Nobody knew her whereabouts. And that's 2017. And even today, like 6 years today, and nobody knows about it. And he also mentioned about a personal story of her mom, her mother-in-law, that kept calling her daughter, hoping that her daughter one day would pick up.
What are the action steps here? I mean, we had the testimony. I understand what you're saying. Everybody agrees with you that we're at a tremendous risk here in every way with the infiltration the CCP has on Wall Street, New York, bankers, every facet. After the hearing, after the information, what is the action steps we need to take, Ava?
Okay, I don't know what the actual action stake they would take. They have some recommendations, but I think I've seen two information I want to leave with your audiences, which I think they're promising. I think there's a hope on the way. First, since actually May this year, if you paid attention, there's a lot of report about the investment is bailing out. American investors are actually calling retreating from China. Okay, and that was reported in May, and then early June, there's a lot of report mentioning about majority of the U.S. public pension fund are actually coming back or on the way of coming back. So people has already took action. Okay, so they already took action. This is decoupling. Although, I mean, politicians' words about de-risking, they're playing these different words, but they are decoupling. You look at University of Chicago, the report mentioned about endowment fund and foundations. These are money are coming back. So as the money coming back, that means China, the CCP, is going to die out of hunger because they are powered on American money. The way that the totalitarian regime runs is basically on foreign investment and on lies. And the sooner the sooner the people realizing these are deceptions and lies, they are going to protecting their money, which that's a great thing that I see. And the other thing is, you see, these couple of days, not just last night's hearing. There's 2 other hearings happened. Almost a very important hearing happened every single day. It was the day before. It was an FBI, the Weaponization Subcommittee, House of Judicial Oversight on FBI, and the day before is the Select Committee on COVID-19. So American public getting great information. If anybody has not paid any attention, people are awakening.